Hello friends, welcome to my program Colonel's Punch. Today I am going to speak to you on the 14th Dalai Lama's escape from the Chinese jaws of death. His escape marks a historical milestone as it exposed China's and Mao's expansion policies. Ulghurs, Tibetans, Mongolians, Manchurians, billions of them faced torture, genocide, and religious persecution at the hands of Chinese. I'll be speaking to you in two parts. First is the Great Escape, and second is the Tibet Free Movement. Well, history moves forward 6 decades. Is the 90th birthday of the 14th Dalai Lama, and in his celebrations, he addressed to the world that he will live beyond 130 years of age, and his reincarnation will be born after his death, and it will be selected by Garden Phodrang Trust. Well, this was an immediate challenge to the Chinese authorities, addressed in front of thousands of foreign dignitaries and Tibetans. China shivered. Further to add salt, the CM of Arunachal Pradesh, Mr. Prem Khanduri, said, "We, India, shares borders only with Tibet." This must have really made the poker-faced Chinese wild. Well, coming to the address later, His Holiness gave out his inner feelings. He said he recalls on 17 March 1959, he walked out of his palace window at midnight in dark, cold, snowy mountains and escaped, dodging the mighty Chinese patrols and units to enter India. Now, this particular escape, I'll further elaborate, and I want the world to appreciate, especially the young minds, that Tibet has to be free. And for generations, this battle should not go on. Nations must come to the aid of Tibet. Yes, now a word about Tibet, its land, and its people. Tibet has been nicknamed the roof of the world. Literally, it is the water reservoir, the largest water reservoir, which feeds and quenches thirst of over 3 billion people. It is the largest plateau, and the mountain ranges in Himalayas are from 4,000 to 4,500 meters. It has passes, gorges, and glaciers. It has rare minerals, and its people are nomadic and very friendly. Now, Chairman Mao, knowing that this is a very sparsely populated region, it had only 1.1 million population and a huge landmass of 1.22 million square kilometers. Imagine that. Now, Chairman's eyes were fixed after the Chinese Revolution. Tibet was its apple of the eye. Well, now, coming to the invasion of Tibet. On 6th, 7th October 1950, Tibet was invaded by the Chinese. It broke all loose and fell on the small, ill-trained, but very proud Tibetan forces. At the Battle of Chamdu, with about 2 units, they slaughtered the people. Over 250 Tibetan soldiers were killed, and number of Tibetans died. Only about 150 Chinese soldiers, PLA, were killed. Now, they had tasted blood. For negotiations with the Dalai Lama, who was just 15 years old, they sent a captured commander, Negbo, and after a deliberate and a month-long negotiations, the agreement was ratified. It was under the Chinese sovereignty. The young Dalai Lama was given autonomous administration. Dalai Lama had ratified it under duress. There was no doubt about it. Now comes 10th March 1959. That means over 8 years of this arrangement, the Tibetan people are up for an uprising. They have been massacred, genocide, not allowed to pray, their religious activities, their customs. Even they are not allowed to plough their own fields. There was famine. At the same time, famine had hit China, and nearly 20 million Chinese had died. The leap forward and the Cultural Revolution had failed. So now, again, Mao had his guns at Dalai Lama. Well, coming back to 10 March 1959, the Chinese General Jiang Jingao invited Dalai Lama for a dance performance in the Chinese camp. And he also directed that he should come without his bodyguards. Now, this was a clear indication. Therefore, the words went round and spread that Dalai Lama will be arrested. thousands of Tibetans surrounded the summer palace and protested and did not allow Dalai Lama to go for the performance. Now on 17 March 1959, the Chinese fired 2 artillery shells at the palace gates. It was a clear indication as they clashed with the protesters that something big is going to happen. On that night, 17 March, which will go down into the annals of Tibetan history for the sake of people. Young Dalai Lama, who was just 23 years old, in military uniform, with a gun slung around his shoulder, showing that he means to fight, jumped out of the window with few supporters and family members and escaped towards India. It was a long route. He could have taken any route. He could have gone via Ladakh, or which was shorter, or to Sikkim, which was again shorter, shortest. But he chose the long route so that the Chinese will not be able to get him. Now, dead of the night, he crossed over the Kyushu River. Some people noticed this crossing, but they were not alerted and did not recognize the Dalai Lama and his party. Now, Dalai Lama spent his days in monasteries, locked up in the mountains, small ones, or camps of Khamba tribe. He usually rested during day and trekked over the high Himalayan passes, snowbound in March with heavy winds, uncaring. But his aim was clear: to escape and then give a chance to his people, to Tibetans, for a freedom. He crossed the Chi Pass on 17th March in the night. Thereafter, on 18th March, he crossed the river Brahmaputra, or a ferry. Just imagine, cold, chilly night, cold water, and hardly anything to eat, living with Tibetans, who are spread over. They stay mostly in small tents with yaks, but he did not mind it. And the people stood by him. The words were passed and there were certain people who were on the guards who had been already sent forward on 15 March to see that there is no danger en route. Mind you, then he could have gone to Bhutan, which was the shortest route. It was 1/3 of the route. But he, on 19 March, he reached Chiteshe monastery. On 21 March, he crossed a very high Jasgola Pass. And by 21st March, the international community came to know that Dalai Lama has escaped, but the destination was yet far. He, on 26 March, reached Lonsei Zong and sent a message or a letter to PM Nehru to grant him asylum with his party. On getting a positive response, he moved towards, he crossed the McMahon line on 31st March, the international border between India and Tibet, and reached Tawang. Remember Tawang, which is in India, where the fourth Dalai Lama had stayed in his initial years. He visited that monastery and waited. Finally, he was received by the Indian delegation. The press came on 18th April. He was at Tejpur, and over 200 press people gave out his arrival, which the whole world rejoiced, but not Mao. Mao, when he realized that after 3-4 days that Dalai Lama had escaped from the palace, he had sent out people all over. Then, not to lose face, he said, Dalai Lama, you come back, nothing will happen. Or even if you escape, we'll declare you a rebel and you can come back, but we'll not hurt you during the route. But that was just, playing with words. He had lost his face. On 29 April 1959, Dalai Lama at Mussoorie established the Tibetan government in exile, and with he as the head, the ball had started. At the age of 71, 19th March, he had a conference. 29 May 11, he established the Central Tibet Administration, the government of exiled Tibet. Government in exiled Tibet. Now, the clock had turned over. He is 90. The hope remains. China has been very lucky indeed, that there was a Cold War of 42 years, which both USA and Russia or Soviet Union did appeasement. Then US sought that China becomes a UN member in 71 and also gets the veto rights of UNSC. He had become powerful. Then his following Chow En-lai and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who was a peace dove and his Panchil, again prevented India to act firmly. You can do anything, but the clock will turn in favor. Remember 61, 62, 50s, when the CIA helped, though Dalai Lama was not in favor of it because it created more problems. CIA trained people in Colorado, Halle camp. And then the Mustang in Nepal had about 2,000 Tibetans being trained. They did act. They did act it bigger. Finally, they joined into 22 establishments in India, and which raised about 8 battalions. Now, these battalions have been turned over now. The old people have gone. But the new blood in these Tibetans is as fresh, as wanting to get back. These battalions have been blooded, trained. They fought the 71 war. They fought the Kargil. And you know that recently in the Galwan Valley, They went and captured the Kailash or occupied the Kailash without China even knowing anything. So the phantom army, as we call it, or the silent army, is also ready. You never know when the balloon goes up. Dalai Lama may be 90, but the urge for freedom of Tibetans will prevail. And one day all these big nations, after they fight mostly the Third World War, will realize that the spiritual Tibet, the meditating Tibet must get its power back, and the environment must get Tibet back, otherwise there'll be hell let loose by the environment. I wish you've got a peep into it, but the real Tibet, free Tibet movement will be my next step. So get ready for it. I wish Dalai Lama a very happy 90th birthday and wish the Tibetan people all success. And I wish China gets the message. It cannot just global all the lands of Ulghurs, Mongols, Tibetans, India, and also the Pakistani land, Pakistani presented Indian land, Changsha. They'll all return because the people's power is very important. People will get against this Communist Party and they will tear them into pieces, and there will be freedom again to all these people, Tibetans, Ulghurs, Manchurians, Mongolians. Wish all of them the very best. Thank you. Jai Hind.